is a simple version of this piece, and it uses 5 chords. So the basic chords you should know are E minor, D, C, B7, and then G. So those are the chords that you would need to know. Now, also, I'm suggesting that you practice accompaniment pattern number 8 with this, which is the first finger picking pattern in the accompaniment patterns, although you've done it before in the note reading section of this book. So it uses the pattern P-I-M-A-M-I, P-I-M-A-M-I. And when we first learned this pattern, you did use the planting technique on it, where when you play the thumb, you set all of the fingers, I, M, and A, one on each string, the third string, second string, and first string. So that's the pattern. Now you don't have to use the planting, but you could. So I could play it here. This is without planting, just free. And this is with the multiple finger planting, where I set I, M, and A down when I play the thumb. So you have some options there of how you want to do it. Of course, pattern number 8, what you're going to do usually is play the I finger on the third string, M finger on the second, A finger on the first string, and then the thumb would probably play the root of the chord, although there are some other options if you wanted to play the third, but you could always play the root of the chord with the thumb, whatever string that's on. Alright, so let's just look through here. This is just a way to practice this. So first of all, it's nice to know that when you're doing a finger style pattern with an accompaniment, then you might see the chord. If you were strumming the chord, you would need to cover all 6 strings, or however 5 strings if you were only going to play 5, or with a D chord, you would cover those 4. In a finger style pattern, you may not be playing every string, so you don't necessarily have to push a finger on every string, which could be nice for chord changes. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So the first one, we play E minor for 4 measures, and then we go to a D. Well, the E minor chord, you're playing the 6th string and the 3 upper strings, and these are all open in an E minor chord, so even though we would need to have 2 and 3 down to strum it, for the finger style pattern, we really don't have to have any fingers on the guitar, and then I can have the D chord ready to go, so that makes that chord change a little easier. So that's a good thing to practice, just the E minor to the D. So you can just practice that chord change. Let's do it one more time. So here's E minor. I just have the D chord ready to go, and I put it down. So that's that change. Then going to the C chord. So the other thing about a fingerstyle pattern is that I can put fingers down in order. So sometimes when people first learn chords, they want to go 1, 2, 3, which may be a way to do it, but in this case you do need the 3rd finger on the 5th string first, and then the 1st finger. So ideally, when you go to the C chord, you would take 3 off the D and put that finger down first, and then you could just put the 1st finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string. You don't actually even need the 2nd finger on the 4th string because you're not playing the 4th string. So let's practice that chord change. Here's a D chord. I'm going to go to C just with that 3rd finger and put that down. So a couple more times on that. So we're just practicing. Here's D. I'm going to pick the 3rd finger up now, put it on C on the 5th string, and just the 1st finger. You see, and when I put that down, and then I added the 1st finger on the 2nd string half a second later or so. Pick the 3rd finger up, put it down. There's the 1st finger, and I do have that 3rd finger down. I have an open string, so I have a little bit of time to even get that 1st finger down. One more time, the D chord. And I put the 3rd finger down. So practice that chord change. Now on the next chord change, you're going to go to B7. Now, the beautiful thing about not using the second finger on the fourth string is that is the first finger you need in the B7, which is the second fret of the fifth string. And I don't even actually need the first finger on the fourth string, because I might not play that string, although there are options where it could be nice, but for now I'm just not going to play it. So I'm going to practice going from the C chord to the B7, so I'm here with just 1 and 3, because I didn't need to put 2 really in this case, and then I'm going to put 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to do those right in order. So here we go from a C chord to the B, 2, 3, 4. And one more time, C chord to the B7, 2, 3, and I just put those fingers right down in order. One more time. Obviously going to the E minor is just open, so that's an easy change. Next we have the G chord. So sometimes people like to play the G chord in this way, where you have the second finger on the sixth string and the third finger on the first string. I usually play it actually with the third finger on the sixth string and the fourth finger on the first string. It allows for some other options that I like to do. It doesn't really matter. However you would like to prefer, however you prefer to do it is fine. But the thing about it, of course, on this G chord, you only need 2 fingers because you're not going to play the first string. I mean, I said that wrong. You're not going to play the fifth string. So we're just going to use either 2 and 3 or 3 and 4. I'll probably just use 2 and 3 in this case. So I'm going from E minor, and then when I go to the G chord, and this is measure 19, I'm just going to do that. And I could put the second finger down and add the third finger. I could just practice that. I'm just going to add the second finger and then the third finger. So I don't even really need to have them both down at the same time. One more time. Okay, then we're going to go to a D chord. We do have that open D string, and so I could put those fingers down in order there. So I've got to practice going from G to D, and I'm going to put those down in order that they come. So I've got an open string, and then it's 1, and then 3, and then 2. So here I go from the G chord. And now open, 4, 1, 3, 2. Let me try that again. Change I need. Good. Okay, and then that's that change. Now the other changes are all the same, except you do need to be able to go from B7 to G. So let's see. So if we're on the B7, we've got 2, 3, and 4. And then you're going to move to 2 to the G. So that's not so bad. So you can probably take the 2 off about here and move it to the G chord. And again, you could just have 2 down and actually start the arpeggio at 3 here. So you don't need the full chord down. So here we are at B7 to G. Okay, so those are all of the chord changes that you need to practice to have these chords smooth in this piece. Alright, and the other thing, of course, you want to be able to do this arpeggio, so you may want to just spend some time making sure you have this really good. You know, this has to be on automatic for it to really work very well, where you could just sit here and just do it. So practice this a lot. Then you should be able to put the piece together, and obviously you want to probably start slower, but eventually you will speed it up. So I've gone through all of the techniques and the chord changes. You may need to practice them more than we did in this video, but this is just something you could use to help yourself. So you want to use accompaniment pattern number 8 for this piece. Accompaniment pattern number 8 is in this case could be in 3/4 time. It also could be in 6/8 time, but you want it to be in 3/4 time this time, which would be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we want to have it in 3/4. The other thing to notice about this piece that's important is that in measure 7, 8, you have a C chord for 2 bars, 9 you have B7 for 2 bars, but notice in measure 15 and 16 you only have C and B7 each for 1 bar, and that happens again later in the piece. So that's something to keep in mind too. So I'm going to just play through at one time. This is the accompaniment pattern for Greensleeves, What Child Is This?